Yeah, this is all about a particular issue that I have with this particular company called Essex Property Trust. I think people should really consider whether or not they want to do any business with this particular corporation. Essex Property Trust actually owns a complex where we live called Woodside Village Apartments. And I think it would be a good place to live if it weren't for certain people who are working in the leasing office. It seems like sometimes you can have a great idea, a great company, and have everything, pretty much go smoothly. But up to the point where you hire the wrong people, I think sometimes that's when you can have issues like this particular issue that I'm going to describe. But to frame this in proper context, we've been here for about 5 years, and we've been diligent in terms of paying our rent, keeping the place nice and tidy inside and outside. And I think in my case, we've been a little bit too diligent when it comes to cleaning this place and, again, taking care of the inside outside. Whenever there's a repair issue or something, we promptly report it to get it taken care of. We make sure that the work orders are submitted right away so that we can keep the place the same way that it was in when we first moved in. That's basically what we try to do, make sure that it looks the same way that it was when we moved in here. And now this particular issue right here is really the straw that broke the camel's back. But I also did some investigation on this company's own Facebook page, Essex Property Trust, and believe it or not, they seem to have an issue with responding to and addressing a lot of complaints that are on their Facebook page, and it just causes me to wonder whether or not what we're going through or what we went through is basically, just one manifestation of the overall treatment that people are experiencing. Let's take a look at this particular issue. This is one issue that actually broke the camel's back, and then we'll take a look at some individual issues with other, with us and other customers, other residents of Essex Property Trust. Okay, I put in a work order requesting that the maintenance people come in and touch up peeling and flaking paint on our kitchen and bathroom cabinets. My work order was posted, and for 3 weeks, I was told by Darlene. Darlene is actually the leasing manager in the office. She's the head person that works in the leasing office. I told Darlene that when things, I was told by Darlene, that when things slowed down a bit, because Darlene was telling me that, new tenants are moving in, and that was the reason why my work order should be pushed back. We were existing residents, but the reason why she couldn't address our issues was because she was too busy with new people coming in, and I didn't think that made any sense. But nonetheless, that's what I was told. New residents coming in, they take priority over existing ones. Obviously, she said I would have my request addressed after things slowed down a bit. Okay, but that was 3 weeks into the work order already. I waited at least another week, and then I called to follow up. Then I was told that Leo, our maintenance worker, would drop off some paint as he was not allowed to actually do the work. When I saw him personally on premises 2 weeks later, I again requested the paint to be dropped off on my porch. By the way, I'm reading this from my blog. I have an official blog where I post a lot of things of interest, and this is one situation where I had to document. I had to use my own blog as a way to document all of these things because it was growing and growing and growing in terms of all the information that I'm getting, not only on my situation that needs to be documented, but on other people dealing with this same corporation. Anyway, when I saw him, Leo, on premises 2 weeks later, I again requested the paint to be dropped off on my porch. He confirmed that this was not a problem and he would do it as soon as he returned from running to the store. He never complied with my request or followed up with me. I called the leasing office and was told by Darlene that not only was I not going to get the assistance they agreed to help me with, and that at least a year ago the company decided that touching up paint in the interior was not something that they were even allowed to do. So I want to make sure that you guys understand this particular session here. When I called the leasing office initially, they told me no problem, it's just a matter of time, and the maintenance people will get around to touching out the paint in the kitchen. We had, kitchen cabinetry and bathroom cabinetry, and they needed to be touched up. We didn't want the flicking to start and get to the point where it was going to be obvious, and it was going to detract from, what was customary in our place, right? We want to keep it up. That's all. Minor issue. Anyway, that she told me that finally that this was not something that they would do, and it's not something that they were even allowed to do. Okay. On one occasion, I was actually standing near Leo when Darlene called his cell phone and told him that I had 2 work orders. One was for touching up paint in the kitchen and bathroom, and that needed to be addressed. And he agreed that he would look into them as soon as possible. So this was kind of weird because I actually went over to the maintenance guy, Leo's little garage, what do you call it, shed or tool shed or whatever, where he works out of, and I was talking to him, and again Darlene called over at the same time. She didn't know I was standing there, but she gave him permission. She discussed it with him and gave him permission to do the touch-up paint, and in addition to another minor issue that I had asked him to look at. We were basically, I think it was the kick plate coming into the unit. I wanted to find out whether or not they could touch that up as well, or whether or not I could touch it up or whatever. But anyway, the main concern was the kitchen and the bathroom cabinetry. And she told him, go ahead and go over to Monty's place and touch it up when you get a chance. So this was very confusing to me, but she didn't know I was standing there. Anyway, so let's move right along. So today, I think that was the day after or something. So today, finally upset by their lack of cooperation, deception, and procrastination, etc., I go to the leasing office for an explanation. Darlene marched me outside and told me that I was not justified in my anger and had to immediately leave the area of the leasing office. Now, this was, I guess, the last straw, you guys. Because I walked over to the leasing office because I'm fed up. We're at least a month into this minor issue. I'm told we're going to do it when we get around to it, and then we can't do it because it's not in the leasing agreement, and we will have nothing to do with it. We'll give you the paint, or you go buy the paint, and you do it yourself, and all of these stories are flying back and forth. And like I mentioned, when I saw Leo one day on his way to the store, he said, I'll go get the paint, and when I come back, I'll touch it up. So I got these expectations that they were going to do it and look into it, and I wouldn't have to worry, right? But I don't like getting dicked around. And I'm a grown man, and I run my own company, and we've been self-employed and financially independent for a long, long time. We just decided to live here because we thought it was a nice area and a nice company to work with as far as the living situation is concerned, But anyway, I run into this situation, and I get angry at Darlene, and I'm like, what's going on here? You can't do it, you can't do it. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. You gotta speak with one voice to me, because I'm not an idiot, and I do have a right to be upset because I don't just have like a million hours in the day where I can spend talking to people who aren't quite sure what their job is and how they're going to do it, especially when I'm paying a lot of money every month to these morons in terms of trying to get them to do things. Anyway, she informed me that she would call the police if I didn't leave right away. So I called the police myself, and when they finally came to my unit, I reminded them that I was merely trying to make sure that my unit and surrounding area reflected a certain pride of ownership or rentership. So this is one strategy that I like to deploy, you guys. If somebody doesn't want to hear you complain about their product or service and they're threatening to call the police on you because you are upset, because you're paying them money and they don't want to give you a good product or service, call the police yourself, like I did. And you tell them, look, yeah, I'm upset and somebody's going to get hurt, so I'm calling you. And you want to come out here and make sure that nothing happens, that's fine. But, I can call the police, you can call the police, we all can call, it doesn't matter. Okay, moving right along. Now I clearly see that either the deadly duo, otherwise known as Darlene and Veronica. Veronica is Darlene's assistant. She works in the leasing office, and unfortunately, Veronica is no help at all, because she also led me to believe that first it was okay, and then it wasn't, and then she supposedly found some arbitrary clause in the leasing agreement that said the company couldn't do interior paint touch-up in their own unit. Now, this was the most stupid thing I ever heard of, mainly because this is an apartment, okay? I don't own it. I'm not going to stock up on paint. I'm not going to stock up on supplies. And I'm not going to be pretending to be a painter in terms of making sure that this paint is done correctly, because it was the trimming around the cabinetry in the kitchen and the bathroom that needed to be done. And you really should have masking tape, and you really should have the proper brushes and paint and supplies, right? Remover and everything. It doesn't make any sense for me to move into a fucking apartment if I'm going to end up stocking paint and brushes and masking tape and everything else, okay? I'm not quite sure how these people get these jobs. But anyway, the deadly duo, Darlene and Veronica, are either prejudiced against blacks, because we're a mixed couple, me and my wife. We're a mixed couple, or maybe they prefer to be slumlords and delight in having slum residents. I think the latter is probably applicable, particularly because, when you force these people to spend some time and effort keeping up their place, some of them don't take it that well, because I guess the upper level people are like, why are you spending so much money, on repair and maintenance? We're trying to make them... we're trying to get super wealthy off these people, off these residents, and you're spending money on these residents. What's going on here? Do you want this job or not? That's probably what they're thinking, the people at the top. Anyway, let's keep moving. It seems that corporate wants to have absolutely nothing to do with holding these two accountable and treating everyone fairly, so be aware of coming to live in an Essex, or particularly a Woodside Village unit. Check out some of the reviews on their Facebook page, which is, what is it? Facebook.com/Essex Property. That's ESSEX as in Xerox Property. So, you can look at all of these reviews. I mean, not only reviews, but straight out complaints. And surprisingly, the corporation is letting people complain, their residents complain on their Facebook page, and they're not even responding. I'm looking through all of these complaints about everything from broken elevators to pet deposits that didn't get returned, to everything imaginable, and for some strange reason, they're not responding, publicly to let people, let prospective customers know that somebody is looking into these issues. So I thought that was rather strange, because even in my business, we learned in Business 101, when people are complaining or have an issue in a public forum like Facebook or something, you want to respond. You want to say, look, apologize for whatever you're going through. I'm on top of it. I'll call you. I'll email you or something, and you try to make sure that everybody who's looking at that from the outside, the public, they understand that you're on top of it. That you're looking at. You just don't leave this complaint, let it just sit there and let it pile up, to where you have 25, 50 people or something complaining about your company or product or service. That's just, for me, that was a telltale sign of what's going on here. So anyway, it seems that corporate doesn't want to have anything to do with holding these two responsible. And yeah, be careful if you're thinking about where you're going to live, and check out some of the reviews on their Facebook page, like I mentioned, and exercise extreme caution lest you waste valuable time and money dealing with these people. Okay, that was that particular case. But, you know, again, like I mentioned, okay, yeah, they gave me a cease and desist order. Of all things, these people want to put me in a fucking gag order because I was adamant about forcing them to do something that they were paid to do under legal contract by way of this lease agreement. Okay, if your paint and or anything inside your unit needs maintenance and repair, you have every right to get it, to request that it get done and get done in a timely manner, because the rent is not cheap in Ventura, California. Okay, at Essex Property Trust, it's expensive. And you know, when you start paying $1,700, $1,800, $1,900 a month, you want service. you want a high standards, right? And me particularly, I don't know about you guys, but I want to get my money's worth. Anyway, these idiots gave me a cease and desist order because I got upset and I called the police and I wanted to hold these people accountable, right? So yeah, I think I should get I think I should have got an apology, particularly from Veronica, for lying to me about, you know, they wouldn't do the interior paint work that I requested. This is how this whole thing got started. Something stupid as fucking doing interior paint work, and lo and behold, there was an individual from corporate who I eventually escalated this to. I think her name was Eliana. She actually, when I finally got a hold of her, lo and behold, Eliana, a senior customer care specialist, when I talked to her, she said, you know what? I don't know what's going on with those two, but we don't want residents to do that type of paint work in their apartments because, you know, it has to be done right. And you don't want to stock up on, like I mentioned, you don't want to, residents, we don't need to stock up on paint and brushes and masking tape and the number of times where I'm actually going to be touching up cabinetry is probably going to be once a year. But I got to stock up on more supplies and stuff other than my regular personal things, right? So that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, after I brought this to Eliana, the senior customer care specialist, she admitted that these two were definitely out of bounds, and she made sure that the work got done. Okay, July 15, 2016 at 8:15 p.m. I sent them a letter and let them know that Leo had done the work. I inspected it and we were impressed, and I thanked her for her assistance in this manner. So again, sometimes you can have a very good company business model overall or something for your company, but if you get the wrong people in there like these two, it's going to ruin it. Okay, there's no way that even the best business model with the greatest product, greatest service, if you have people, your managers in there, and particularly in the leasing office or whatever, and if they're going to make the most simple, brain dead things as difficult as possible and do more to undermine everything that the company represents, because you know I had high expectations when I did my research on Essex property, and it looked like they had prestigious, high standards and very well chosen properties and good locations, blah blah blah. But then when I run into these two, you know, I think this speaks for itself. If you look at my blog, I'll attach a link to it. But anyway, I copied and pasted a number of different people's complaints in here, and unfortunately, someone is dropping the ball significantly when it came to addressing these issues. This one person, Patricia Wilson, says, Essex has essentially stolen $500 from us by letting us apply, lying and saying we were accepted, then telling us we couldn't be accepted unless we gave up one of our cats. We asked for a $500 deposit back and were told a check was forthcoming on February 2nd. Numerous phone calls, emails, messages on their site, etc. have only led to one call back and the person in charge of refunds who called me back at 5:50 p.m. 10 minutes before they closed, so I couldn't get anyone when I called back almost immediately, has not called me back after 2 more days of leaving voicemails. When I called her number, it goes to voicemail every time. We are now in the process of contacting the Seattle Tenants Union and getting their legal assistance. Pro tip, I guess it's a professional tip or something. Do not even bother applying to any Essex property. They will rip you off however they can. So this was just one person. And again, doing my research on their Facebook page, I found that this was a consistent theme for a lot of people. A number of people, had outstanding issues and were very dissatisfied with the service. And I pasted them on my blog, just so people will know that I'm not just trying to paint some one-sided picture or something, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one. Also, someone says Ashwara, something like that. It's the worst property management ever in the United States by far. I have lived in 5 different states and have not seen such poor service. They have the most rude staff ever. First, they won't let me see a sample apartment before I move in, and after I move in, they won't service the apartment whatsoever the problem is. I had complained about pests and theft in my apartment, but the community manager's response is, "We will look into it," but it never happened for a year. Finally, when I move out, they charge me for pest control. They charge me for pest control, which I have been complaining about for months. They fucking are charging for carpet cleaning and replacement. I don't understand why they charge for cleaning carpet, or they're going to change the carpet because they're gonna. Okay, well, he's saying that since they're gonna change the carpet anyway, why charge a cleaning fee? Their only motive is to cheat people and take money and nothing else. Okay, he goes on and on and on. People don't rent Essex property rentals. They're the worst. I live in Stevenson Place Apartments in Fremont. I guess that's another Essex facility. Anyway, he goes on and on and on. The last paragraph, they had people come over and work in the apartment with the doors open for 2 weeks, which caused a lot more bugs in the house, and I had to be hospitalized for bed bug problems, because something the community did wrong. I don't know. That's a weird one. Worst apartment experience ever. Things are just all over the map. It's kind of funny, but it's sad, But anyway, I just want to let you know that there's definitely some issues going on here, and look for yourself. And I'm gonna probably have to contact the rental rights organization or something, the equivalent of some agency whose responsibility is look at renters' rights or something in Ventura, California, because we're going to be moving on from Woodside and looking at some other facilities in a very short order. This has just culminated in an unbearable situation where it's not working out for any of us, any of the parties concerned. So anyway, I wanted to make a video about this. I thought, I want to let these people know I'm not going to take this laying down, and I'm going to put this in the public forum for everyone to take a look at. And if I'm being one-sided, if I'm not being fair or something, or asking too much, then maybe I'll find out that. But I think other people need to know, like one person mentioned here, if we can save some time and some money and everything by not moving into places where you're just going to be considered a revenue stream for the company, and if they want to do everything, then they're going to do everything imaginable to not provide you with the quality of service, lifestyle, safety, and security, and all that they're supposed to give you. Then you want to move on to somewhere else where they're going to actually honor their agreements. Okay. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up, and I'll put a link to the blog in here. And we'd like to hear from you guys to see what you think about this particular situation here, because I even went to the BBB site, and there was some issues there, definitely. Looks like 28 complaints closed with BBB in the last 3 years, 9 closed in the last 12 months. Yeah, so a few people have definitely had to go to the BBB, the Better Business Bureau. So this just, I guess, further illustrates that there's something going on here. Anyway, so you guys have a great evening, and I just want to go on record and you know, I run a surveillance and security equipment company, and we do a lot of investigations on behalf of people and helping customers and corporations, government agencies, etc., etc. And so yeah, intuitively, I always have to do in-depth investigations into all, you know, whatever companies, people, whatever, just to, you know, so yeah, I guess it's in my nature to check and to do this type of research, and I'm making this available to you guys, okay, just so you know what's going on here, just in case you ever want to take a look at renting an apartment. And, you know, I don't want you guys to make the same mistake that we made here, okay? So you guys have fun. And if you have any need for bug detectors, nanny cameras, GPS trackers, listening devices, give us a call. If you want anti-terrorist products, the explosive detectors, X-ray baggage scanners, and narcotics detectors, give us a call. If you want to rent walk-through metal detectors, whatever, give us a call. 888-344-3742. That's 888-344-3742. You guys have a great day. Thanks. Take care. Bye.